There's one more error on the, one more change on the agenda on page 6. Georgia Papanopoulos is a replacement teacher. She's on the agenda as a full-time teacher. She is actually a 9/11 teacher, which is part-time.
Thank you. Okay, back to public participation. Okay, first name on the list is Kathy Huggins. Kathy, could you come up to the microphone, state your name and residence, and let us have it.
Kathy Huggins, Farmingdale, New Jersey. Can I be late a little? I'm still composing my questions.
Sure. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh, it's
I
put
said
it down.
I was later on the list, composing my questions.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anything for you, Pat.
Bob Berger.
Bob Berger, 16 Gilchrist Road in Marlboro. I think some people turn the lights out on us today and keep us out of the room. Literally, we have a power failure right now, so I think we have even more. But I think this is a great testimony to the interest in the varsity sport that was being looked at. I came kind of loaded for bear. I must say, at this point, Mr. Boyce, I'm somewhat pleased in your approach and look to this crisis, and this truly is a crisis. This is a program encompassing over 500 kids, 500 plus throughout the district. You go down to the bubble, Tom's River, it's a scene when we have our districts down there, at which we pay them down there $6 for a kid every time. But again, this truly is a crisis when you have 500 families, and these are families, and I kid you not, a track sport in a family, that is a family issue, all right? It never stops. So to put a break on them for a 3-month period basically takes them out of the game. It truly takes them out of the game. And again, I think that I feel that there are some very cool heads prevailing here. It seems to be going in that direction, and I think that's a good thing. As far as the 500, you know, we've heard of programs this evening that are for the benefit of our children, the SAT prep programs, and that's fabulous. I'm a teacher myself, okay, this is fabulous. However, we do have somewhat of another crisis once these kids get into these schools, and that is something called paying for it. And being a father of a daughter just about to leave off for her first year, I do feel the crunch, and there's some other people I know in this room have the same situation happening. And right now we look as an opportunity for this sport to provide, while it's not guaranteed that any my child in this room or any other particular child in this room, I'm going to tell you, amongst 500 kids, there's hundreds of thousands of dollars of scholarships which are going to help these 500 families along the way. So, and I really think that that's the main gist of this. Again, there is no guarantee for any particular athlete in this room of what they're going to get. They're not going to end up in Michigan, not some might. We do have world-class athletes whose families have walked through these corridors, all right, that won the Penn Relays for Virginia University. We all know who he is, all right? So, you know, and we do have an athlete from Marlboro who right now is basking the enjoyment and the hard work of Michigan for Marlboro. And this will continue. And I'm pretty pleased, I think, that it seems to be the way it's going. I did have one question, I'm going to go, because other people, but you said something about the coaches, Mr. Boyce, in regards to stipends. Could you mind clarifying what that refers to? Or my interpretation is, does that mean that our coaches would be dispersed, or in essence, this would be called one sport? In other words, they would be paid once for 2 seasons? And I say that with question in my answer.
Mr. Berger, we'll answer all questions from everyone after everyone has had their...
Because that is a concern, but other than that...
No, your question is noted, and
thank you very much. Thank you.
thank you. Michael Chernikoff?
Good evening, my name is Michael Chernikoff. I'm 96 Double Creek Parkway in Field Township. I am speaking to Dan Parent. There's so many things I was thinking about on my way here, and ultimately, with the band being suffering, as a lot of other groups are suffering with this catastrophe called the budget, losing road games is more than losing the luxury of bolstering the morale of the football team. And I'm sure it's going to deflate them in their endeavors, but the band is much more than a luxury for the football team. A band cannot work in a vacuum, just like you would never suggest that there be no road games for a football team, because it would be ludicrous to say, we'll just have scrimmages at home. The band is the same way. You need to expose them, and when they're on foreign turf, they're being exposed to other types of showmanship, artistry, a different sound. It's something that pushes them to push their envelope. I know in listening to Mr. Gatzik over at Township, when he speaks about the intrinsic value of music and what it does to their development as students and as citizens going forward, it's more than just taking away a trip to another school. The poise and character these kids have to muster to get on a foreign field and play is much more challenging than playing at home. When you take away competitions where they go off to festivals and see the best of the best and the most inspirational band directors, you're robbing them of the ability to expand their talents. And I guess lastly, it's sad, it always seems like a fun day, but the parades, we're asking these kids to be the next generation of great citizens. You're robbing them of patriotism, civic pride, and pride in their own town if they can't march down Main Street on Memorial Day. And I'd like to think, that's what I'd like you all to ponder, and unfortunately, in listening to the presentation, there's no time like there is for the winter track to save any of that right now. Winter track, like you all brought out, this is a transitional budget and a transitional period, and you're going to try to work towards finding a way to jiggle some more money out for that, and as well you should. The band doesn't have that kind of time. They're over by Thanksgiving. And you're asking parents to pick up the slack. We don't have the time to pick up the slack. I know it's probably a ridiculous statement to make, but as a gesture, if you can jiggle every stipend down to the nearest 100, and every honorarium down to the nearest 100, and ask each vendor to roll down to the nearest 100, you're not breaking anyone's budget in any of those pockets. But that might be the money for the peripheral costs, as you put it, for the band experience. Thank you.